No one saw this coming. Just when Landman seemed to have it all under control, the cracks started to show. And episode 9 doesn't hold back. Pain, betrayal, and impossible choices collide in ways that will leave every character, and every viewer, reeling. From shattered alliances to heartbreaking decisions, this episode proves that power, ambition, and loyalty don't always mix. And sometimes, doing the right thing is the hardest path of all. Tommy starts episode 9 already stretched to his limits, and it's clear that the weight of MTEX and his responsibilities as Landman are finally taking their toll. Emails pile up, contractors demand answers, and shareholders breathe down his neck. Every decision feels like walking a tightrope, where one misstep could bring everything crashing down. What makes this episode so gripping is that Tommy's struggles are not just professional, they're deeply personal. His relationships with Cammy, Rebecca, and even Cooper are being tested in ways that have been building silently all season. Tommy's attempts to keep everyone aligned are failing, and for the first time, we see cracks in his usually unshakable confidence. The tension builds as he mediates disputes between Cammy and Rebecca, both standing firm in conflicting visions. Cammy is all in on the Wolf Camp drilling project, driven by the potential payoff, while Rebecca emphasizes caution, citing only a 10% chance of success. Tommy is caught in the middle, his every choice scrutinized, and every misstep threatening the company's future. Cooper, quietly observing, starts taking initiative in ways that highlight Tommy's exhaustion. Late-night strategy sessions reveal Tommy's inner turmoil, flashes of self-doubt, subtle regret, and fleeting reminders of what he's risking personally. The episode uses these moments to show that even the strongest can falter, creating a suspenseful backdrop for what's to come. By the end of this act, it's clear that Tommy is pushed closer to a breaking point than ever before, setting the stage for a dramatic and emotionally charged finale. The episode shifts focus to Cammy, whose decisions define the high-stakes tension of this chapter. She has always been bold, but episode 9 takes her audacity to a new extreme. After weighing the arguments from Rebecca and Nate about litigation versus rebuilding the rig, Cammy makes a choice that shocks even her closest allies. She opts to move forward with drilling, fully aware of the risk, prioritizing potential life-changing success over safety. The decision isolates her instantly. The team sees her gamble as reckless, and tension explodes between her and Rebecca. Rebecca accuses her of selfishness, while Cammy remains unmoved, focused on the upside Charlie highlighted, the chance to turn millions into billions. This boldness, however, comes at a personal cost. Cammy's isolation is palpable in private moments, where the weight of responsibility presses down on her shoulders. Conversations with Tommy highlight her frustrations. She cannot lead while anyone questions her vision, and she perceives Tommy's cautious approach as a roadblock. The subtle undercurrent is clear. She is lonely in her ambition, and her strength may be her undoing. Meanwhile, Galeno emerges as a figure of cunning, offering a stark contrast to Cammy's emotional stakes. While Cammy risks everything on the potential reward, Galeno's approach is calculated and ruthless, showing no attachment to outcome beyond personal gain. This sets up one of the season's most compelling tensions, raw ambition versus cold strategy. By the midpoint of the episode, viewers understand that Cammy's gamble isn't just about business. It's a test of character, resilience, and the fragility of trust, all while the looming possibility of disaster creates relentless suspense. As Cammy takes her bold step forward, Tommy begins to realize that he cannot carry the weight of both MTEX and the Landman responsibilities alone. The episode carefully constructs his internal conflict, his loyalty to the company versus his personal limits. During a critical scene at the Wolf Camp, Tommy formally hands over project management to Cooper. This moment is subtle but powerful. Cooper, previously in Tommy's shadow, now emerges as a leader, earning respect from the engineers and workers with every confident decision he makes. Tommy's relief is mixed with a quiet pang of guilt. He knows that passing the torch is necessary, yet it symbolizes his gradual removal from the core action he has driven since the beginning. Cooper's ascent is deliberate, highlighting the generational and tactical shift within MTEX. The audience witnesses a character evolution in parallel with the plot. Tommy's role as a visionary and problem solver is gradually replaced by Cooper's practical leadership. Their interactions are loaded with subtext. Tommy mentors silently, giving guidance while letting Cooper make mistakes and learn. There's a sense of inevitability. Cooper is becoming the stabilizing force that Tommy can no longer be. This shift adds suspense because it is more than a professional transition. It hints at Tommy's diminishing influence in the company and the personal consequences he will face. By the end of this section, the audience senses a change in the story's emotional core. The narrative is no longer about Tommy alone, but about how he adapts when he is no longer at the center of control. Episode 9 reaches its emotional crescendo as personal conflicts intertwine with business crises. Angela's jealousy, previously hinted at, comes to the forefront, revealing cracks in relationships that viewers assumed were stable. Seeing her cry is a rare, almost shocking moment that underscores the depth of envy and desire for a life of wealth and influence she cannot have. Her longing contrasts sharply with Tommy's devotion to work over pleasure, amplifying the tension between love, ambition, and personal fulfillment. Meanwhile, Cammy confronts Tommy about his attitude toward her company vision. Her words are harsh, unflinching, and crystal clear. She sees Tommy as a barrier, a man unwilling to fully commit to what she believes is best for the company. The dialogue is electric, each line carrying emotional weight and foreshadowing conflict to come. This confrontation is a turning point, not just for Tommy and Cammy, but for the narrative as a whole. The episode makes it clear that the personal and professional worlds of these characters are intertwined, and any misstep in one realm affects the other. The audience is left on edge, wondering whether loyalty, ambition, or personal feelings will dominate as the series hurtles toward its conclusion. The stakes are raised, the consequences are imminent, and the sense of impending tragedy hangs over every scene, making episode 9 one of the most suspenseful and emotionally charged installments yet. As episode 9 nears its conclusion, the narrative tightens like a drawn bow, each thread of tension waiting to snap. Galino's calculated moves, Cammy's ambitious risk-taking, Tommy's exhaustion, Cooper's rising power, and Angela's emotional turmoil all converge to create a perfect storm. Quiet moments between characters are filled with subtext, hinting at decisions yet to be made and consequences yet to be faced. Tommy reflects on his choices, acknowledging his limits, but also understanding that stepping back does not mean giving up. It is a strategic withdrawal to preserve what matters most. Cooper's newfound authority offers hope for MTEX, but also underscores the inevitability of change and the emotional cost Tommy will bear. The episode closes with a lingering tension. Nothing is resolved, but every decision and interaction has set the stage for a finale that promises heartbreak, triumph, and consequences that will leave the audience talking long after the credits roll. Episode 9 masterfully balances suspense with emotion, preparing viewers for a climax where personal sacrifice and ambition collide, leaving no one untouched by the fallout. Loving Ty again would mean reopening wounds she barely survived. And this season treats that conflict with honesty rather than romance. She is choosing between who she was and who she has become. Ty, in turn, appears ready to face responsibility. Love, he realizes, is not proven by presence alone. It is proven by truth. His story shifts from survival to accountability, making his arc quieter but more powerful. The woman beside him becomes a symbol of reality, not rivalry. She represents the life that continued while others were frozen in grief. Her presence challenges the idea that love must remain unchanged to be real. By the end, Heartland Season 20 promises something deeper than drama. It promises emotional truth. Love evolves. People change. And sometimes the most shocking reveal is not who returns, but who everyone becomes along the way.